everyone, it's Kathy and I'm back with another photo focus layout, and it took me a while to get this one edited and voiced over. Even though I had this layout done for a while, I just had a lot going on, and then we had a whole family of sickness, so when 5 people get sick it really goes through the family. Anyway, so I'm finally managing to finish editing and uploading this, and this is the first 2-page layout that I have done in forever, and I really enjoy doing it. And now that I know that I can do it on screen too, then I know I will definitely be doing more, especially for this series. So there'll still be some 1-page multi-photo layouts as well, and 2-pagers. So it'll be both, but it'll be lots of ones with more than like 1 or 2 photos. Anyway, so I have this whole series of photos from my son when he was, I don't know, 1.5, 1. He was just kind of walking. It wasn't quite 1.5 because he would have been 1 in January and this would have been in the spring. So there we go. This is my first son, so this was a while ago. And I love that big photo. And it's been hanging around my house. I don't think I ended up using a photo that was previously in a frame, but I was going to, but I ended up editing some other ones instead. So originally I have done that photo as its own single photo layout, and now I decided that I liked all the other photos as well, so why not just do a double-page spread with all the photos? And so I kind of went through all my papers and stuff like that just to see what I would like that would match and go well. And I had this collection. I don't have all of it, but I have what I could find of it, and it's older, and it's from Basic Grey, and it's called What's Up, and it is kind of feminine, kind of masculine. It seemed almost birthday party themed, because I know there's certain things in some of the embellishments that kind of sound like their birthday party, but it was all like hot air balloons and the sky and cityscapes and stuff like that. So it's really cool, and I've had it for a while. So I decided I'm going to use it, and what I'm doing for this 2-page spread is I'm using 2 different background papers. One is a grid, as you can see, and one is a sky, and they are both from the same collection, so that's kind of keeping them cohesive. But the other thing that's going to keep everything cohesive, at least as far as I am concerned, is I'm going to use the same papers on both sides, and also that strip of chevron that's going down each corner kind of connects them, at least for me. Now, I mean, it looks perfect when it's all set up right there. Obviously, once it goes into a photo album, it won't be quite like that, but close enough. And as you can see, I'm dividing up all my papers so that I have a chunk of each on each side, and that's what's going to kind of keep it as a 2-page layout. So this is an easy way to do a 2-page spread if you say don't have a whole bunch of 2 papers, like enough to do a full 2-page spread, or you don't have 2 of the same background papers, or you don't want to use 2 solid cardstocks. Picking contrasting papers but then using the same type of embellishment, accent papers and stuff like that, layering will really help keep everything cohesive. So that's what I'm doing. So everything that I had, and they were pretty much all scraps or pieces of a 6x6 paper pad, and some of them were really small scraps, and then I cut those even in half. So my layout design was kind of made for me by that whole idea. Was like, my paper scraps are so small, I don't have a lot of options with this, if that makes sense. And in the first layout I did for the photo focus, I had this 6x6 Heidi Swap kind of cut out paper, and it was like a chevron, and I had cut these 2 long chevrons. Anyway, so I grabbed it again and cut some big hunks out of it, and I'm going to use it in this layout as well. And some of my reasoning for that was to bring in more white, because I have the Hello paper. It's a stark white, then everything else is like a vintage cream. So I brought in that chevron to kind of bring in another stark white. I'm not backing my photos with anything, like with any layers of paper. I'm just going to put foam on them. And as you can see, I'm just building up paper layers. And I just want different papers kind of peeking through. Nothing is perfect. Everything's a little tilted. Some are ripped. Some are kind of mushed and squished up, and the edges are a little rough. And that's kind of what I was going for, because obviously this is a layout about a boy exploring outside. So I wanted everything to kind of have a little bit of a distressed look to it, especially since the background papers are distressed already. So as you can see, I'm just doing strips and strips of paper, and they're on both sides. I brought in like a dark polka dot to contrast all the lighter papers, and it had so many of the colors in it. It wasn't even from any collections. It was just in a 6x6 paper pad from, I think, My Mind's Eye, or I think it was My Mind's Eye, or something like that. I don't know, but I've had it forever, and I've only got a few of the papers left because the colors were. It was a boy 6x6 paper pad, and it was absolutely adorable. So I've used so much of it. My whole idea with this, with these photos and which ones I chose to go where, were that I had 3 photos of him where you could prominently see grass. So I wanted all those ones together. And then I had 3 where the blue steps were really noticeable. So I wanted to keep those ones together. So you can see that's kind of how I decided which ones we're going to go where, and then sizes and stuff like that. And I had fiddled around before I made this to see if I wanted, which photos I wanted on which paper, and I ended up deciding I liked the green photos on the blue paper, which I guess maybe doesn't make any sense, but the other way it was going to be too much blue. Blue on blue on blue, that type of thing. I knew I wanted to use this sticker set that said Wild About You, the foam thickers, and most of that is because he's wearing a shirt that says it's a Where the Wild Things Are shirt. So I knew I wanted to use something that said wild. I've been kind of hoarding that Wild About You specifically to use with these pictures, because he was wearing a Where the Wild Things Are shirt. So I love it. And I love that in one of the pictures he kind of looks like he's doing like a monster stomp on the grass or something. And it's just really cute. As you can see, those are the hot air balloons I was talking about that are very featured in that What's Up collection. And I have some of the dimensional embellishments, and then that's like it. That's all I've got of this collection, were some of the papers and those hot air balloons. Those banners are from Pink Paisley Outfitters, which was like a summer camping collection from a year or 2 ago. I just have like a few left. And then these really old This and That chipboard pieces from, I think, an old Echo Park or Fancy Pants or something collection. And they're very like vintage looking, vintage typefaces, vintage imagery, a lot of silhouettes and stuff like that. So I'm kind of just going through like old stash and really loving the combo of all of this together. It's making me happy. I don't think I end up leaving that paper clip there, but I do end up bringing in some newer Pink Fresh Studio from last summer. It's not Boy's Fort. It was the other one that I cannot remember the name of. Anyway, it had a lot of masculine colors in it, so it worked really well, but it also had a stark Some of the stickers were like stark white, so this kind of helps bring in a little bit more of that white to offset the vintage cream. And I'm just deciding, and I'm keeping the embellishments, like if I've got the banner on one side, I want a banner on the other side. If I've got the hot air balloon on one side, I want a hot air balloon on the other side, just to keep them cohesive. And I just really like how this kind of turned out in the end. I am actually really happy with this layout. When I compare it to the single page spread that I did of that one photo, I like this spread so much better that I may just completely replace it and not bother having the two separate ones. I don't really see the need to. It worked out perfectly on its own. The last thing I am going to do, besides stick down those cute little stars, which stars doesn't really make sense, but I don't care. Boys scream stars to me. Is I'm going to use some of that watered down acrylic paint that I like to use for my big black ink splatters. I can't talk. And that is coming up here in a second once I'm done fiddling around with the Pink Fresh Studio stickers. So but as you can see, they each stand alone as their own page, and then they also combine to make a really interesting double page spread that I really like. And with the addition of the splatters, then it just kind of makes it even a little bit more messier, and of course that's just exactly what I like and what I'm going for. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and pictures are coming up. I will see you all in the next video, and hopefully you won't have to wait too much longer for the next one. Have an awesome day. So yeah, bye.